Millions of people know Cristiano Ronaldo as a football legend, a record breaker, a global superstar, one of the most successful athletes in history. But what if the most remarkable thing about Cristiano Ronaldo has nothing to do with football? What if the story that truly defines him happened far away from packed stadiums, television cameras, and championship trophies? Because behind the fame, the luxury, and the millions of fans lies a story most people have never heard. A story of poverty, sacrifice, loneliness, and choices that reveal a side of Cristiano Ronaldo few people ever get to see. Today, we're going beyond the goals, beyond the records, and beyond the headlines, because the man behind the legend may be far different than you think. And before this story is over, you may never look at Cristiano Ronaldo the same way again. To understand Cristiano Ronaldo, you have to leave behind the glamour of modern football and travel to a small island in the Atlantic Ocean, Madeira. Long before he became one of the most famous people on earth, Cristiano was simply a boy growing up in a modest home. His family struggled financially. His father worked as a municipal gardener and part-time kit man for a local football club. His mother worked long hours cleaning and cooking to help support the family. Money was always tight, sometimes painfully tight. Years later, his mother would openly speak about how difficult those years were. There were moments when simply providing for the family felt overwhelming. Yet inside that small home lived a boy with an unusually large dream. Cristiano loved football, not casually, obsessively. It wasn't entertainment. It was an escape, a purpose, a vision of a different future. While other children played for fun, Cristiano played as though every match mattered, as though every touch of the ball might somehow change his life. But talent alone would never be enough. Soon, he would face a challenge that many children would find unbearable. At just 12 years old, Cristiano left Madeira to join Sporting Lisbon's academy. Imagine that for a moment, 12 years old. Leaving your family, leaving your friends, leaving everything familiar behind. Most children that age are still trying to find their place in school. Cristiano was boarding a plane and moving hundreds of miles away, in pursuit of a dream that might never happen. The transition was brutal. Long before he became one of the most famous people on earth, Cristiano was simply a boy growing up in a modest home. His family struggled financially. His father worked as a municipal gardener and part-time kit man for a local football club. His mother worked long hours cleaning and cooking to help support the family. Money was always tight, sometimes painfully tight. Years later, his mother would openly speak about how difficult those years were. There were moments when simply providing for the family felt overwhelming. Yet inside that small home lived a boy with an unusually large dream. Cristiano loved football, not casually, obsessively. It wasn't entertainment. It was an escape, a purpose, a vision of a different future. While other children played for fun, Cristiano played as though every match mattered, as though every touch of the ball might somehow change his life. But talent alone would never be enough. Soon, he would face a challenge that many children would find unbearable. At just 12 years old, Cristiano left Madeira to join Sporting Lisbon's academy. Imagine that for a moment, 12 years old. Leaving your family, leaving your friends, leaving everything familiar behind. Most children that age are still trying to find their place in school. Cristiano was boarding a plane and moving hundreds of miles away, in pursuit of a dream that might never happen. The transition was brutal. He missed his family, he missed home, he missed the life he had always known. Many young athletes quit during moments like these. Many return home. Many decide the sacrifice is simply too great. Cristiano refused. But what happened next almost ended everything. Because shortly after arriving in Lisbon, he became a target. His accent was different. His background was different. Some of the other boys mocked him. They laughed at the way he spoke. They treated him like an outsider. For a young teenager living away from home for the first time, those experiences could have been devastating. Yet they had an unexpected effect. They fueled him. Every criticism became motivation. Every insult became fuel. Every moment of doubt strengthened his determination to prove people wrong. Years later, the world would see the confidence, the ambition, the relentless drive. But few understood where it came from. It was being forged during those lonely years far from home. And then came another challenge, one that was far more serious. At 15 years old, Cristiano was diagnosed with a racing heart condition. The problem threatened his football career. Suddenly, the dream he had sacrificed everything for seemed uncertain. Imagine hearing that news as a teenager. Imagine believing your future might disappear before it has even begun. Fortunately, doctors were able to treat the condition through surgery. The procedure was successful. Cristiano recovered quickly, and almost immediately, he he returned to training. That response would become a pattern throughout his life. Obstacles appeared, Cristiano attacked them. Difficulties emerged, Cristiano pushed harder. Failure threatened, Cristiano refused to stop. Soon, his performances began attracting attention. Not just in Portugal. Across Europe, scouts noticed something special. His speed, his skill, his work ethic, his obsession with improvement. Then came the moment that changed everything. Manchester United, one of the biggest football clubs in the world. The opportunity felt almost impossible. A boy from Madeira, a child who grew up sharing a small room with his siblings, now joining one of football's most prestigious organizations. The dream was becoming reality, but success created a new problem. Because once Cristiano reached the top, people began making assumptions about who he was. The flashy cars, the luxury lifestyle, the confidence, the celebrations, the headlines. Many viewers saw arrogance, many saw ego, many assumed they understood him. But appearances can be deceptive, and years later, a series of quiet decisions would reveal something very different. As Cristiano's fame exploded, his income reached levels most people could hardly imagine. Contracts, endorsements, business ventures, global recognition. He became not just an athlete, but a brand, a phenomenon, a symbol of success. At this point, many stories about wealthy celebrities follow a familiar pattern. Bigger houses, more luxury, more excess. But Cristiano's story took a different turn. And it began with something deeply personal, something connected to his childhood, something connected to the struggles he never forgot. Because despite his extraordinary success, Cristiano never completely lost sight of where he came from. He remembered what it felt like to have very little. He remembered uncertainty. He remembered sacrifice. And perhaps most importantly, he remembered the people who helped him along the way. Years later, stories began emerging that revealed a side of Cristiano Ronaldo that received far less attention than his goals. Stories involving children, hospitals, families in crisis, people facing impossible situations. Unlike spectacular goals scored in front of millions, these moments often happened quietly, far away from stadiums, far away from television cameras, far away from social media. And that is precisely what made them remarkable. Because some acts of generosity are performed to be seen. Others are performed because nobody is watching. Over the years, multiple reports documented donations to children's hospitals, medical treatments, disaster relief efforts, and charitable organizations. In some cases, families struggling with medical expenses found help when they needed it most. In other cases, institutions serving vulnerable children received support that made a meaningful difference. The details varied. The pattern remained consistent. Cristiano repeatedly used his success to help people he would likely never meet. But perhaps the most revealing aspect wasn't the money itself. It was the attitude behind it. Because generosity becomes far more meaningful when it comes from someone who remembers what struggle feels like. And Cristiano remembered. One story after another began painting a more complete picture. Not the superstar, not the celebrity, the human being. The son who remained deeply connected to his mother, the man who never forgot his roots, the child who once dreamed of a better life, and later used his success to help others find theirs. And yet, despite all of this, public perception often remained divided. Some people saw only confidence, others saw something deeper. Why? Because confidence is easy to notice. Character often isn't. Character reveals itself slowly, quietly, over time, and perhaps that is why so many people misunderstand Cristiano Ronaldo. They see the public image. They don't always see the journey that created it. They don't see the 12-year-old leaving home. They don't see the teenager facing health problems. They don't see the years of sacrifice. They don't see the pressure, the loneliness, the relentless pursuit of excellence. But all of those experiences shaped the person he became, and they help explain something important. Cristiano's greatest achievement may not be the trophies, or the records, or the championships. Those accomplishments are extraordinary, but countless athletes have won trophies. Very few have transformed a childhood of hardship into a lifetime commitment to helping others. That transformation is what makes this story different. As the years passed, Cristiano's legacy continued growing. Goals accumulated, records fell, new generations of fans emerged. Yet the hidden side of his story remained surprisingly consistent. Work hard, never forget where you came from. Help when you can, keep moving forward. Simple ideas, powerful ideas, and perhaps that's why his story resonates with so many people around the world. Not because everyone can become a football superstar, very few ever will, but because everyone understands struggle, everyone understands sacrifice, everyone understands the desire to build a better future. Cristiano Ronaldo's life is ultimately a story about possibility, a reminder that circumstances do not have to define destiny, a reminder that obstacles do not have to determine outcomes, a reminder that success means little if it only benefits yourself. When people think about Cristiano Ronaldo, they often think about goals, championships, records, victory, but beyond the statistics lies something more meaningful. A boy who refused to surrender his dream, a young man who endured loneliness and doubt, a global superstar who never completely forgot what it felt like to struggle. And perhaps that is the real story. Not the athlete, the person, not the legend, the human being behind the legend. Because beyond the fame, beyond the fortune, and beyond the spotlight, Cristiano Ronaldo's greatest legacy may not be what he achieved for himself. It may be what he chose to do for others. What about you? Did this story change the way you see Cristiano Ronaldo? What surprised you most about his journey? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoy discovering the hidden side of remarkable people, consider subscribing to See Beyond the Spotlight, because sometimes the most extraordinary stories are the ones hidden behind the world's most famous faces.